Welcome to Giant Dreams Under Construction, the show that focuses on positive people in our community working towards building their dreams. My name is Kateri Banning, and today for our guest we have Erica Joy Radford. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So Erica is a member of Fort Wayne First Nations, and she's active in the community in a couple different organizations. You grew up here in Thunder Bay, right?
Yep.
And where did you go to school?
I started at Shunya, and then I went to Forest Park, then to Churchill, then to Hillcrest.
So
all over the place.
You kind of went all over.
Yeah.
Why was that? Were your parents moving around a lot, or was it just you didn't like the atmosphere?
It was a little bit of both. Parents split up, and so we moved around a bit.
Okay.
And also tried out the International Baccalaureate program and decided I wanted to be a teenager instead. So,
What is that program like?
It's actually all advanced. It's all advanced schooling, and so the program actually gets you into pretty much any college or university in the world if you go through the entire thing.
And that was at Churchill?
That was at Churchill.
Okay. I know a few people that have gone there, but I've heard that it's really hard, and high school's already hard enough.
Yeah.
So when you graduated, where did you end up going?
I didn't graduate, actually.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, so that's a different story to tell. So how did you find that hindered you at all, or?
Nope. I think actually that's been a point that I wanted to make with myself and with my family, was that I could still get places without it.
Okay, and so how? Because we're always programmed in that you have to finish school.
Well, I guess it's made it easier because I applied as a mature student to University of Manitoba, and I got in and I did a year of environmental design. So I actually just get to kind of gloss over the fact that I don't have a diploma and just say I did a year of university, and that question doesn't end up coming up. And that's been pretty helpful.
So, but you still have your education essentially with that year of university, right? Like,
Yeah.
Would that be the equivalent of what people would call a GED or?
I'm 2 credits short of a GED, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what did you do during high school? Did you play sports? Like, why did you decide to quit high school?
I actually was offered a full-time job, and I wanted to be able to move out on my own. That's why.
And where was that?
What do you mean, like in Thunder Bay?
Well, the full-time job that made you make that huge decision.
Nurses Registry, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you manage that?
I think just about a year and a half to almost 2 years. I think it was actually because of my dad's girlfriend's daughter. She had worked there, and so I had ended up applying, and I got the job, and so I did that for a while.
Okay, and what did you think of that? Like, because you clearly you didn't become a nurse after.
No. I don't know. I guess it's an interesting job because it's a telephone answering service.
Okay.
So I actually got to deal with the school board, with tow truck services, with doctors, with nurses, with the hospitals, clinics.
What?
Yeah, so I got to get to know a lot of everything and kind of background stuff.
So everything, there's like, that Sesame Street song, there's one thing that's not like the other. Why tow trucks?
Because it was an answering service.
Okay.
So we didn't just do it for medical reasons. We also had the school board. We also had tow trucks. We also had different companies and businesses all around town that were local and that were bigger. And yeah.
So if I call Nurses Registry, I'm not
sure if they're that big anymore.
Nurse.
No, they actually stopped employing nurses. I think it was around 25, 30 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, there you go. That's something that most people probably didn't know. And so you went from doing that, you went to environmental design.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Basically, it was a kind of all-around program that could get you into landscape architecture, or like designing parks and green spaces and things like that. Or
That's
it
pretty
could get
cool.
you, or it could get you into national parks, or even just getting into building design, things like that.
So was that a fun course? Like, what was it like? Was there much math, or was it all just artistic?
Well, I only did the 1 year, so I actually only did like geography and a lot of electives that I really wanted to take, like sociology and philosophy and stuff. So I don't know, I actually ended up going through it and finding that it wasn't really for me. The design course was probably the most fun that I had there, and I got to learn quite a bit about different artists and different ways of doing things, which was pretty neat.
Who'd be your favorite artist, or was at the time?
Actually, Ai Weiwei is one of my favorites.
And who's that?
He's actually kind of a Chinese activist, and he likes to make social commentaries and political art to kind of challenge the way that we look at things happening in the world.
Well, that's pretty cool, actually. I haven't heard of him. Actually, now I'm going to look him up. And so you went from, you went to Manitoba for the 1 year. Did you stay in Manitoba, or did you come right back?
Yeah, I just kind of moved there on a whim, because originally I wanted to move all the way to Vancouver, and that was my like start to get out of Thunder Bay and get started and save up and then move over there. And I ended up staying in Winnipeg for 2.5 years, derailing that plan, going back to school, and then being like, you know what, I just want to go home with friends and family.
And you have a huge family here.
Ginormous. I don't even know all of them.
Meet somebody new every day. Well, that's one of the benefits of being a part of Fort William First Nation. You're pretty much related to everybody out there. You meet a new cousin or a new aunt.
So it kills you for the dating community.
So that's what Grandpa always said: to never date anybody in the same reserve. Somehow, some way, you'll be related. No, so you never ended up going to Vancouver. You came back home, and you have a brother and a sister, though, right? Or
two brothers and a sister.
No, you do 2 brothers. Sorry, I forgot, because you have a
he's a
really,
half-brother.
really, really young brother compared to your other group. What was that like? You know, all of you guys are teenagers, and then you have this baby.
I kind of wanted nothing to do with too much like social care with him, because I was a little terrified, because for my 18th birthday I got a baby brother. So I'm like, people are going to think it's mine. So I'm like, I don't really want to be seen in public, like walking him around or anything, because I'm like, I don't want people to think I'm like a teenage mom.
Oh,
I just,
my gosh.
you know, because stigmatism. Like,
Oh, poor little brother just got disowned right away at birth.
oh, I didn't disown him. I just, I was definitely scared to be, you know, like just seen with him, just to like have
Is
that
that
come
just
on me.
because of like the typical social stigma that there are? Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, if I'm a high school dropout, it's going to look way better if I'm carting around a baby.
Yeah. Good
It's
point.
not nice.
Yeah.
Like, people just aren't nice in the
So
city
now,
sometimes.
but you've changed things around though, because and we'll get into this in the second segment, but we'll talk about how you actually got into the career that you're in now, and I want to hear some of the stories, because what you do I think is pretty cool, and I guarantee there's going to be a lot of stories. Like, I would love to see some of the pictures, but we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back after these messages. And we're back with our second segment of Giant Dreams Under Construction. We have Erica Joy Radford here today, and she was talking in the first segment about, how she got to where she is right now, and what you do is you're a photographer for Life Touch. Am I right? Okay, so that's the company that goes to all the schools and takes all of our kids' pictures, right?
Yep.
So how did you get into that? How did you just decide, I want to take pictures of everybody's kids, but I don't want them?
Actually, I guess it's kind of neat. I've always had an interest in photography, so it was kind of an easy one. But I actually had applied for an office position to that company. And when we were in the interview, I kind of connected with my interviewer, and he just kind of said, you seem like a really creative person. I don't know if an office position is really going to be for you, but...
Yeah, I can't picture you as a paper pusher either.
But we had a great talk anyways, and talked a little bit about art and other things anyways. And then within a week he had called me and he's like, so do you want that photographer position? And it was like, yay! I didn't really want to be a secretary right now.
That's got to be an ego boost, eh?
It was good, yeah. It felt really
So your first day, was it scary? Because you're going into a school, you got to photograph like what? Like most schools have like a few hundred kids. Some schools like 800 kids.
Yeah.
Like, so what was your first day like?
It was a little bit stressful. I would mostly just kind of played the assistant for my first day, and it was one of the bigger schools in town.
Yeah.
And I just kind of helped him set up, and he just kind of gave me a run through of how to kind of like do everything, how to set kids up and how to talk to them to like make the situation go easier. And
So you have to go like, like what do you do? Because guaranteed you're going to get the kids that don't smile, or that like purposely want to come in and be all thug, or like, do you get a lot of that, or are most kids like right away?
It's a pretty big mixed bag. Sometimes you have like ones that you can just say silly things and they're pretty easygoing, and then other times you have to talk to them a little bit. You just kind of have to use your, I guess, like intuition and just kind of feel it out. every time. Because some people are really easygoing. Yeah, like they'll just get up there and like, what would you like me to do? I'm like, okay. And then there's other kids that are just like, I'm just doing this because my mom wants me to.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, let's make this easier for
Yeah.
mom then and just give them a nice big smile.
Yeah. So do you ever have to comb anybody's hair, or do you ever like have a kid come up in front of you where you're like, wow, let's go wash your face, or like, do you have, or do most kids come in, like I know for my kids, I've always tortured them to, fix their hair, or you're like, you better wear a clean shirt.
Yeah. Again, it's kind of a mixed bag. I think parents really try hard to set their kids up well for it. And if there's recess and stuff like that in between, I mean, like you really can't do too much about that. So thankfully, for the most part, for the younger kids, they'll have their teacher there to kind of help us out, because we have a touch with caution policy. So we're not really supposed to be brushing their hair or touching them or anything like that. And if we do, we always ask permission, and we just try to do like, just fix little things. And if there's big things that we need to be done, we just ask them to do it themselves or ask their teacher to help.
Okay.
Yeah. So it does make it a little bit more difficult, because we're discouraged from like dealing too much physically with them.
Okay. But you must have like the kids that come in that completely forgot it's picture day and they're still in their pajamas with their bed head, eh? Like,
and if their teachers are not to help, like we'll just kind of say like, so we'll gauge this by like, see what your teacher says. If mom maybe doesn't want to try to get this picture, we'll try this on retakes, or we'll just take it anyways and see how cute it turns out.
So how long have you been doing this for? Like, do you feel really comfortable with what you're doing now? Like, how many years have you been doing this?
This is actually only my second year, but I do feel a lot more comfortable doing it now, yeah.
And so it's just a lot easier, and or is it still like, are you intimidated when you go into the high schools to do these pictures, or?
A little bit, because I'm about the same size as all of them, so, and I don't think I'd look that much older. So yeah, sometimes I just kind of feel a little overwhelmed with like all of these kids, and you're just like, they're kind of like mini adults,
They are, really. Like, even grade 8s nowadays, you see them where, like, have you noticed that there's a big difference from when you were in high school and what the kids look like now in high school? Or is it maybe just because, like, I can't even describe it. Like, I don't remember being super done up when I was in high school, but I see kids nowadays where it's like, oh wow, you're ready for a photo shoot every day. Like,
I feel like that's a bit different. Yeah, I think makeup culture's really boomed.
Yeah.
I don't remember it being that big when I was younger.
No.
And we were usually crazy about like crazy colored lipsticks and stuff when we were younger.
Or blue eyeshadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blue eyeshadow and like purple lips and like just goofy things. And now they're like super intense and they're super made up. And I'm just like, I can't even imagine trying to do that to my face.
No, not even as an adult.
I'm not even good at makeup at all.
So now, you're into art, you do photography. Do you do any environmental photography? Like, after hours, you go out and you're like, you know what, me and my buddies are hanging out, or we're going camping. Like, do you like doing, what would that be called, landscape or
like landscape and nature.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you do that a lot, or are you done at the end of the day where you're like, I don't want to touch my camera? Like,
I actually probably take at least 5 to 30 pictures on a daily basis, just because that's my interest, right? That's what I always do. Taking pictures of my cats. Yeah, the sunrise or the sunset, or just if I look around the environment I'm in and something just looks really neat at that moment. So, I mean, that is my everyday life. But when I'm in like the height of the photography job, sometimes I'm just like,
yeah.
No,
like
I don't want to. I'm not going to go out of my way to go for a walk to get nature photography, no.
Do you have any, you have a lot of tattoos. Do you have any that are like a picture inspired tattoo, or are they all eclectic and it's a different story?
They're all pretty eclectic.
Yeah.
I'd say like this one, that's my main one, and that's my reminder for myself to embrace everything and myself.
Yeah, that is the most noticeable one. Like, it doesn't matter, whenever I see you, that's the one I notice. But, and is that just you expressing yourself, or, like, well, we'll get into that in the next segment. I have a feeling that there's more to this. So, we might as well take a break right now, and because I know that the next one we're going to discuss a lot more. So we will be right back with Giant Dreams Under Construction. We are back with Giant Dreams Under Construction. Our guest today is Erica Joy Radford. And just before we took a break, we were talking about the one tattoo on her arm in particular that says embrace. And you said that that's an important reminder for you. Why is that?
Just a lot of, I guess, life struggles. And when times get really, really hard, sometimes it's good to just have something that reminds you to pick yourself back up.
I actually really like that. And so you, when you say life struggles, we do like to focus on the positive, but what were some things that you had to face that, contributed to who and what you are today?
I had an abusive and hard childhood. I think that was a big part of shaping the kind of intuitive person that I became to be. And I don't know, I guess I've had some off friends and some, I don't know, I guess, yes, it has created some difficulty not having my high school diploma, but at the same time, I've always tried to find ways around it. And I think those things have really helped shape me into someone that doesn't really give up and that keeps persistent, even though I'm faced with people in situations sometimes that say, like, no, it's not good enough, or you have to have this. And I go, why? And start figuring out how to work around that. And so that's been really neat.
That's actually that's strength for real, because it's easy to get discouraged or brought down by people. So you, I hope you don't mind me mentioning, but you are a member of the LGBT
Q2S plus or IPS.
I don't know what to call it.
It keeps changing, so I'm actually not even positive myself right now what it is.
Well, what are you okay with?
Like personally?
I
don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So, and when did you know that you were you?
I came out, I guess, last October from having finally found, I guess, like a woman that I was interested in for the first time. And I had never really had that big of an interest in it before, and got to go through a lot of self-struggles and through my own brain and just kind of figure out that honestly, because of my upbringing, I had somewhere in my brain that said I wasn't allowed to be like that. I just wasn't. I think I was just scared for myself and my well-being back then, and it just wasn't allowed to be an option. So all of a sudden it was like, I'm an adult and I get to make my own decisions, and like, wait, can I do that? Why can't I just do that? And then I ended up being introduced to my elder, who helped me realize that I was two-spirited. I do exhibit male and female qualities, and that's always been something that's been exhibited through my entire life. Being a tomboy, wearing whatever I wanted to wear, and just not really fitting in with women fully or men fully, but most of my friends were guys, because it was just, they did sports and climbed trees and did all the silly things I always wanted to do, and the girls were more into just things I wasn't as...
Barbies.
Yeah, Barbies. I mean, I had Barbies too, but I just wasn't as into that culture at the time.
And so you said your elder. You were telling me earlier that you, what was the elder's name? And you received your spirit name from this person too.
Yeah.
So what were their name? Or what was their name?
Their name is Manisha Kabe, and she's an OG Cree two-spirit lesbian, and she's local to Thunder Bay as well.
Okay, and what is that her spirit name that you used, or is that her real name? I don't know how to put that.
I actually met her at a sweat, and I ended up propositioning her and offering her tobacco. Well, she instructed me to offer her tobacco because I didn't know the practice at the time. And so I asked her if she would give me my spirit name. And so I had given her a ring that I've had for about a decade that was also kind of the idea of something that was a promise to myself. And she held on to that for, I think it took around 2 months, and then she gave me a call, and we met back up, and I gave her more tobacco, and she presented me with my spirit name and my colors.
Oh, so it wasn't just right there on the spot, like, no. This is a process.
A lot of thought was put into it, yeah, and she said she had a dream, and she had a hard time deciphering it because it wasn't a bird, it was just kind of like an ephemeral being that was flying in the thunder. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, no, that does sound cool. And so your spirit name is
Thunder Flying Woman.
Okay, I was gonna mix it up. Thunder Flying Woman.
Yeah. Well, the woman's optional, but I identify as a woman, so.
And do you have a tattoo that represents that, or you haven't done that yet?
Not yet. It's gonna happen.
And did you find that Did you find that process healing for you? Did you feel different after? Or did things just make more sense to you?
I'd say it started giving me a lot more clarity, yeah. I struggled with it actually for a chunk of months. It probably took me around 5-6 months to really start feeling that I could embody that. But I think it was really good for me because then I started looking at things through the different lens of like, I am two-spirited. I don't have to be bound to a gender, and I don't have to be bound to the quiet, mousy person that I'm, I end up being when I'm scared.
Well, and so do you continue to do sweats? Have you embraced your culture a lot more since that?
Yes,
or
absolutely.
What's your favorite thing to do that just makes you feel free?
All of it. Going to the sweats, going to ceremonies, drumming, singing, dancing at the powwows. I do.
You have your own drum? Did you make one yet?
I do, yep. We finally birthed it, I believe it was early October. I can't remember the exact date right now. But we finally feasted and birthed my drum, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a drum, but I'm not ready for it yet. Like, how did you know you were ready to birth it?
I kind of didn't. I just said I need to.
Okay, so that would be a feeling.
Yeah. I just said I just have to do this. I just have to.
And where did you do that?
Actually out in Kaministiquia. We usually do I guess they're a bit more private. Minnie usually chooses the people that she would like to be present at them, and we do very small sweats that are usually maximum 8 people, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you still continue to go? How often do you drum? Do you drum like when you're at home, or is it only in public places? Or is it like a cathartic thing to drum?
Mm-hmm. Mostly, I only do it in ceremony so far, and I haven't been doing it at home. So I'm still kind of feeling it out, and I need to learn a lot more songs, so I need a lot more practice. But it's definitely cathartic when you can really just feel a song and get into it.
Oh yeah, no, there's certain songs that are played, especially the Remembrance Service up the mountain. Like there's the Warrior song I absolutely love, and I can't wait until I can play it.
Yeah.
So is there any advice or any message that you would want to leave with our viewers about, say there is a young individual that can relate to you and who might be going through what you've gone through? Is there any advice you would give your old self or to our viewers?
I'd say find your family, find your tribe. That's the biggest one, because my support system was really small until I really just got a pretty big slap in the face of a hard year last year.
Yeah.
And so getting to know my family and my culture has really been empowering me a lot. That's good.
Well, you're an easy person to love. You really are. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
I didn't mean to make
okay.
you cry.
It was going to happen.
But I'm very glad that you shared your story, and I guarantee you there's going to be a young person or, even a young adult who's going to look at you as an inspiration. And I just hope that, everybody else can find their strength and their peace. And I'm proud of you, and I love you very much. And thank you so much for coming today and sharing your story. And please just keep being you.
Thanks.
So thank you so much for watching. This is another episode of Giant Dreams Under Construction, and we'll see you again soon.